Welcome to the Kind of Nerdy Girls podcast. Fandom, fun, funny.
Kind of Nerdy Girls podcast.
Hey, surprise, friends. It's KJ again. I know, a regular episode out this week. We talked to Jacqueline Pignol, who is the voice of Miles Morales' mom in the PlayStation game. And now we are talking to the legendary Deborah Norville. I didn't want to wait to share this with you. I had the opportunity to talk to her, and she has a new show. It's a true crime show, and it actually premieres tomorrow night, Saturday night. So I wanted to get this conversation out. If you are listening, and it is after Saturday, the 20th of February, 2021, still a lot of good stuff ahead here. Deborah talking about her own love of true crime and how you can still watch the Lifetime movie that she produced. Here we go. Deborah Norville on the Kind of Nerdy Girls. Hi, Deborah. How are you doing?
I'm great, KJ. How are you?
Deborah, I'm just going to be flat out honest here that I'm fangirling a little bit talking to you.
Oh, thank you. I wanted to tweet us out, but I don't know what your Twitter handle is, so tell me I can do it for afterwards.
Oh my gosh, it is at KJ On Air.
KJ On Air. Got
yes,
it.
ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. How? First of all, how are you doing with the weather? Are you warm and cozy and safe?
Well, I think, what did we say the other day on the show? 73% of America can look out the window and see snow or ice. So it's nuts. I have a niece in Houston, and she has been without power. It came back on for a little bit. You know, we're all checking in by cell phone and texting and stuff. And she said, Aunt Debbie, we ran out of wood. And I said, well, you know, have you got any furniture that you don't particularly like? My sister said, why don't you burn books? I'm like, it's terrible. She said, the growth business down there is going to be everybody getting generators put into their houses so that if this ever happens again, they are not going to be without power. Because she has a neighbor whose home is destroyed from burst pipes.
Yeah, I think we're all hearing from relatives. I mean, we're here in Indiana, and my sister sent me a message this morning that their pipes have burst and they're under a boil order, and can I bring her bottled water? And I'm like, you know what? As soon as I'm done talking to Deborah Norville, I will be on my way with water.
Good. She needs it. She needs it. You know, the one good thing about this terrible weather is everybody's going to be stuck at home this weekend, so I'm hoping that means more people will want to watch the movie that it's my first time to executive produce a feature film, and it's going to be on Lifetime this weekend. So maybe the weather will be our friend as far as that goes.
Yes, I'm excited for this. I mean, you have had such an amazing career. I can't believe this is a first time for you executive producing, and it's Lifetime's 400th original movie.
Yeah, the network has just been incredible. They figured out early on that truth really is stranger than fiction, and so they've really perfected the ripped from the headlines series of films, and we're thrilled to be number 400 in the list. And this one is inspired by the real life events of the Long Island serial killer, and specifically we're telling the story from the point of view of Mary Gilbert. And Mary Gilbert is the mom who, in her efforts to find her missing daughter, actually busted open this serial killing case. Nobody knew there was a serial killer at work in Long Island, New York. And because of this mom and because of her insistence that my daughter's gone missing, you people got to do something to find her, they, in the course of looking for her daughter, actually stumbled upon 4 other women's bodies, all in a shallow grave near one another, all wrapped in burlap, clearly killed by the same person on the same beach where Shannon Gilbert, Mary's daughter, had disappeared.
Doesn't it just breaks your heart to think about being in that kind of position? I don't even think you could really wrap your head around being a mother, finding that out. How was it for you, executive producing this? I mean, it had to be pretty emotional.
Yeah, well, you know, you read this, it's interesting. You know you've got a good script when you're reading the script and you remember in school when you had to like do a play, it was like Sam and then Sam's words and then Mary and then Mary's words, and it was pretty dry. But when you're reading a script and you go, oh, you gasp because of something someone said or something you just saw, and you're just reading it, that's when you know, wow, this is going to be good. And our script was actually written by a guy called John Peel-Meyer, who was nominated for a Tony and a Pulitzer. He's the guy who wrote Agnes of God, the big Broadway hit smash. So we had an amazing writer, we had an amazing director. We had Kim Delaney, who plays Mary Gilbert.
She's so fantastic.
She's so fantastic. And first of all, she's the nicest person in the world. And she's game for anything. So she's got this beautiful brown hair. And actually, if you go onto my website, deborahnorville.com, you can click through and see a behind-the-scenes story that I did. And one of the things Kim was game to do, she's at the colorist because Mary Gilbert was a bleached blonde. And so she has her hair dyed blonde, which takes a long time when you're a natural brunette. And there's this thing where she's twirling in the chair at the hair salon, and one minute she's brunette, and the next minute she twirls and she's a blonde. But she's phenomenal in the movie. And I would say, yeah, it's emotional, and when you watch the clips, it's emotional. Even when you see the trailer that you can see when you click over there on my website, it's like, whoa, it grabs you because this story is so emotional and so grabby. And then you just keep reminding yourself, whoa, if it weren't for this one woman, no one would know what happened to these victims. Their families would have never had the little bit of closure they've got, but there's still this person, whoever did it, remains at large. No one has ever been arrested.
Wow. And along with the movie, which is going to be premiering this weekend, you actually follow up. There's a documentary after the movie with more information.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. One of the things Lifetime does so well is they fictionalize, they movie-ize the real story. And so there are some creative licenses that are taken. That's why we say inspired by real events, not the real events, because nobody was there when a lot of these things happened. But the documentary that airs at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock Central Time, is a news report, basically. It is the news clips, it's the actual press conferences, it's the information, it's the clues, and where do these clues point, and is that a red herring, or did something really happen? So it's the journalistic view of the same story that you just saw in a feature film format.
Wow. Well, we have so many listeners who are really into the true crime, and this is one of those stories that just absolutely needs to be told. And how are you yourself? Would you consider yourself a I hate to say fan, because you don't want to be a fan of true crime, right?
Oh, absolutely. No, totally. Both as a viewer and as a producer. I mean, I had 2 series that aired on the Reels channel that were, I don't know, like 8 episodes each one, which one was all about people who ended up getting executed. That was really cool to work on. And then another whole series on different crime and things involving celebrities, like a whole hour on Anna Nicole Smith and the tragedy of the people who took advantage of her in her life. So yeah, it's fascinating to just watch as a viewer, and it's really interesting to work on as a journalist or a reporter or producer, because the facts are just mesmerizing. So I hope everybody can tune in Saturday night.
All right. Thank you so much, Deborah. It was so great to talk to you.
Thank you, KJ.
Join the Nerdy Girls Podcast.
The Kind of Nerdy Girls are proud to be a part of the Just What I Needed network, and we certainly hope we were just what you needed. To support the show, you can get yourself some merch and show off that you are kind of nerdy. Go to kindofnerdygirls.com and click on the Kind of Nerdy shop. And while you're there, you can also support the show by getting access to behind-the-scenes footage, videos of our podcast, and never-before-heard episodes from our classic Kind of Nerdy vault. Just become a patron at kindofnerdygirls.com.